Close your eyes and sit comfortably. Bring your attention to your body. Whatever had happened in the past, it has gone. And whatever happening in the future, it has not yet arrived. So bring your mind to this present moment. Keep your mind any different sensation you can feel, any part of your body. As long as you are capable of keeping your attention to different sensation appears in your mind, in your body, you are in the present moment. Scan through, starting from your head, your face, your neck, your shoulders, your back, your lower back, your legs, and your toes. Bring back from your toes to your legs, your lower back, your back, shoulders and neck, your head to your face. Now observe whatever different sensation comes through your body. You are observing. Sensations are appearing and disappearing. Take a deep breath. Breathe out. Breathe in and breathe out. Slowly focus your attention to your breathing in and breathing out. You are breathing in mindful. You are breathing out mindful. As long as you are capable of keeping your mindfulness on your breathing in and breathing out, you are in the present moment. So give yourself a quality time to embrace the present moment. Breathing in and breathing out. Breathing in and breathing out. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Slowly open up your eyes, and I hope you all were capable of to have a glimpse of breathing in and breathing out. So it is interesting. Namo Buddhaya. Good morning to all of you, friends in the Dhamma. Today you all gathered here to this conducive environment, Buddhist Fellowship West Center, in this beautiful Sunday to participate Sunday service of the Buddhist Fellowship. And today our topic for the Dhamma discussion or Dhamma sharing is a very interesting topic. That is how to be an heir to the teachings of the Buddha. And this is a very interesting topic because it is a wonderful, timely reminder for all of us what Buddha expects from us as a disciples. So Buddha has 4 different kind of disciples: Buddhist monks and nuns, and followed by the lay men and women. So all of us, those who consider as Buddhist, are disciples of the Buddha. So it does not have any exception for the monks or the lay people, right? So these teachings are applicable for all of us as a 4 community. Therefore, friends, the teachings of the Buddha is considered or comes under one term called the Dhamma. In order to comprehend this Dhamma, to understand this Dhamma, there are 3 different ways have been discussed in the Tripitaka. The first method is pariyatti, the theoretical study and learning. The second, patipatti, the practical application and living. The last, the third one, pativeda, the direct insight into the truth. So these 3 ways we can be an heir to the teachings of the Buddha. These 3 ways are complementing each other in our practice, attaining the noble realization. So theoretical study also important. Practical application in daily living is also important, what we have learned, followed by as a practice eventually brings us to realization, that is the direct insight into the truth. So even an arahant who attaining enlightenment does not just complete his journey or the task. They are also listening to the Dhamma. They are also engaging in Dhamma discussions. So attaining enlightenment is the end of greed, hatred, and delusion, but the preaching and living according to it need to be undergone as a practice. So that is why these 3 practices are key practices when one wants to be an heir to the teachings of the Buddha. So this is a very concise understanding. So we are going to elaborate this point using 2 suttas in the Sutta Pitaka. The first one, the Kakachupama Sutta, the simile of the soul, and the second one, Indriya Bhavana Sutta, the development of faculties. Kakachupama Sutta provides a good outlook and Buddha's expectation as disciples how to face the difficulties in our journey or in our practice. And Indriya Bhavana Sutta shares a practical guide how to achieve that mental stage. That is why these two suttas are important to know as a complementary to suttas. When we are moving to understand the Kakachupama Sutta in a very brief, there are two interesting stories have been documented in this sutta. The first story or incident took place between the Buddha and Venerable Moliyapagguna. And Venerable Moliyapagguna was accused in this sutta being overly attached and spending time with the nuns. And Venerable monks advised him not to behave in such way. But Venerable Moliyapagguna was not ready to listen. He easily get agitated and angry when someone advises him. Having heard this incident, the Buddha decided to summon him to the Buddha, and Moliyapagguna came to see the Buddha, and Buddha asked, "Is that true, Moliyapagguna? When someone admonishes you, you are easily get agitated or angry?" And Venerable Moliyapagguna, very honest monk, he said, "Yes, Master, I easily get agitated and angry when someone advises me." How many of us can be accepting one's negative qualities, right? So Venerable Moliyapagguna, even though he has some certain negative practices, he is at least honest to accept his negative behaviors. And then the Buddha shared interesting story. A lady who lived in Magadha called Vedehika and her helper Kali. And this story is giving probably some certain kind of a negative feeling for the females, but it is not the understanding of the Buddha. Buddha wanted to highlight what is the negative behavior of the lady. So do not take it personally, okay? Therefore, in this scenario, in this incident, Vedehika, one of the ladies, was having the reputation of kind, even-tempered, and compassionate lady. And Kali, the helper, decided, "Is that true? My madam do not harbor any negative thought in her mind." So she wanted to check. And she decided to check. The first day, she woke up late. And the Lady Vedihika said, "It's okay. Since it is happening not quite often, she was capable of forgiving the maid, the helper. And the second day also, she decided to wake up late. But second day, Lady Vedihika quite upset. From the third day, she was angry. Can you think of what had happened in the fourth day? She was so upset and took the dopin, which is a pole that in ancient time hold the doors. They are using this kind of a pole or stick. And she used this stick and hit the maid, the helper Kali. The sutta says her head cracked open. And then this lady, or the maid Kali, ran out to the neighborhood shouting, "You see, quiet, even-tempered, nice lady, what she done to me?" And from that day onward, her reputation changed into an angry, unkind, not even-tempered lady. The Buddha said, as long as we do not encounter difficulties, when our life is very smooth, we are the sweetest of the sweet, aren't we? And the most even-tempered of the even-tempered, the calmest of the calm. So when things are going according to our wish, it is easy to be calm, collected, happy, and joyful. But when things started shaking, that is the time the true nature of us comes out. The Buddha says two things. If you want to know someone's knowledge, you need to discuss with him or her. And if you want to know the true nature of the people, you need to associate them so closely. So when these two methods, we can truly know about the characteristic or the behavior of people. Because when we are closely associating for a long period of time, we can't wear that nice mask all the time. So time to time, the real mask will come up, real face will coming up. That is why it is difficult to live together under one roof. As long as you are separate and living in different places, when the time you are meeting each other, so nice, so calm, so collected. But once you start staying under one roof, the ugly side will comes up. So that is the true behavior, true nature. That is what actually we need to correct as a behavior. Because we can't avoid, we can't run away. We need to face it one day or another. So Buddha says, even when someone admonishes or criticizes us, different scenarios, timely or untimely. Some people timely come and shares with you your negative behaviors, or untimely, and truly or falsely, gently or harshly, beneficially or harmfully, from heart of love or from secret hate. So different ways it may comes to us. It doesn't matter whether it is coming in a nice way or not. The Buddha says we need to face those situations with the mind that not degenerate, keeping that calm nature inside our mind and not blurt out bad words, remaining full of sympathy with heart full of love and no even secret hate. And I know when I see your faces, Bhante, how can we do that, right? No, Buddha does not stop from here. There are some more. See, you need to maintain the same mindset, not verbal abusement, but also even someone strikes you with fist, stones, rod, and swords. And you may think, we are the self-compassion. Why do we need to be a testing object for others, right? But in this kind of situations, Buddha does not mean that you need to go through all the physical dangers. You can avoid it, but you need to know we can't forever avoid such kind of situations. One day or another, we have to go through this kind of situation. In such kind of situations, you must be ready to make up your mind. Not only that, the Buddha even further it takes. If bandits were to sever your limbs from the limb with two-handled saw, anyone who had the malevolent thought on the account would not be following my instruction. So you can see how greater moral behavior that Buddha needs us as Buddhist disciples. And you know, and I know for certain that you are not ready to take it. You want to retaliate it. You may does not agree with me, but I can't change the words of the Buddha. These are the words of the Buddha. But do not lose your hope. Why? The Buddha shares a method that we can develop our mind, our faculties, when we are facing such kind of situation, how to deal it with. So in this kind of situation also, we need to uh, not our mind to degenerate and blurt out no bad words, remain full of sympathy, heart full of love, no secret hate. So in order to understand how to develop our faculties in facing such kind of difficulties, we need to go see the Indriya Bhavana Sutta, the development of faculties. In this sutta, it is a wonderful and interesting discussion took place. The Buddha and one of the students of Brahmin Parisarya called Uttara. The Uttara came to see the Buddha, and once he came to see the Buddha, Buddha asked a good question. Since you are a student of teacher Parisarya, how he is asking you to develop your faculties? So Parisarya, the Brahmin, his method of developing the faculties, if you see something negative, don't look at it. Because from the eyes that we are creating the difficulties, from the sounds that we are creating the difficulties. So the best method according to Parisarya to develop the faculties, close your eyes, close your ears, close your mouth, and don't go through any sensation. And what do you think? Are you agree with this teaching? It is a good method, right? But Buddha says, no, it is not. If one can close their eyes and close their ears, tongue and body and all the sensory experiences, they can not develop the faculties. They can control or restrain their faculties. But restraining or controlling is not the ultimate. We need to develop it. You may have seen this, right? Three monkeys. This is a very common image, right? No see evil, no hear evil, and don't speak evil. So if you taking it in that way, it is correct. But if you are practicing not seeing because you are getting distracted, not hearing because you are getting distracted, not talking because you are getting distracted, that you are practicing the method of Parisarya, not the method of the Buddha. So don't be disciples of the Parisarya Brahmin, be the disciple of the Buddha. How we can be the disciples of the Buddha? The Buddha says, if we can control or develop our senses, then it must be easier for a blind person to develop their senses, right? A deaf person to develop their senses. But do they develop their senses? It does not. They are still going through the issues of anger, hatred, delusion, and all those negative emotions. So the Buddha says, according to Indriya Bhavana Sutta, there are three kind of practitioners. The first one is the practicing trainee. The second one, training of the noble one. And the noble one with developed faculties. So let's see what is the method of the Buddha, how to deal with these sensory experiences. So Buddha says, when a practicing trainee if you are new to this teaching of the Buddha, or if you are new to the practice of meditation, or if you have been to a meditation retreat, probably when you start contemplating in your mind or practicing these teachings of the Buddha, you may come across different kind of feeling, agreeable feeling, disagreeable feeling, and neutral feeling. So it is not only the feeling, it goes seeing the sights, hears the sound, smell the odor, and tasting the flavor, feeling the touch, knowing the thought. So this is how our entire sensory experience that we are taking. So if you are a trainee, when negative thoughts come, what will happen? You are horrified, repelled, and disgusted. When you see a person who did something negative to you, whenever you see him, you become agitated and angry. Whenever your neighbors are doing different kind of prayers and sounds, what will happen? You are angry and upset, horrified. And when others are preparing different kind of dishes, right? Some very strong smells comes to your house. You are trying to control closing your windows and doors and spraying all over, different kind of methods, right? That is how our way of, as a practitioner or trainee, that we are fear of beautiful things to look at. Or when come across negative things, we are not ready. That is why when a funeral is near your home or house areas, you are trying to go one big round, escaping from seeing that funeral areas, right? You think it is a negative side. As long as if you can run away from these things, okay, but there will be one day that you can't run away. You have to face it to yourself. In such kind of situations, you are become horrified, repelled, and disgusted. So this is a training stage. But at least if you know that this kind of things appear in your mind, if you are aware, and that is a good side. We can see in the next practitioner why it is a good side. So, a noble one, a true practitioner of teachings of the Buddha, when he sees a sight or when he hears what is agreeable, disagreeable, or neutral feeling, he goes through different kind of a method to address this issue. So he understand agreeable or disagreeable, neutral feeling came to me. He understand. When he understand this agreeable, disagreeable, and neutral feeling comes to him or her, and he aware that these feelings are arising in him or her, you are not directly going to be disgusted or horrified or attached. You are aware, you understand this process is happening in our mind. So this understanding can make so many changes. How? Once you know that it has arisen in me, the Buddha says in Asavakkya Sutta, which is how to overcome all the defilements, the Buddha says, monks, I say that destruction of defilements is for one who knows and sees, not for those who do not see and do not know. So if you can't see, if you can't understand, if you can't recognize this process happening inside your mind, whether it is a disagreeable or agreeable or neutral feeling, we are hopeless. Because we do not know, we are going to respond in automatic ways of, if it is nice, okay, it is nice and happy. enjoy. If it is not nice, angry, upset. Because we do not see this process. Here, seeing means you are aware about the process, what is happening inside your mind. So you need to develop this human mind into the process of recognizing the emotions. Once you recognize these emotions, there is a hope. What is the hope? That we can reflect on those emotions. How we are going to reflect? These are conditioned and dependently arising. Those are not permanent thoughts, or those are not actually negative or positive. That we are, when do not know about thoughts, we are giving power to our thoughts. But when you take back your mind, you are controlling the thoughts. You are aware about these thoughts appearing inside your mind. So this is totally a different ways of tackling and dealing with your mental and thought process. So it is all about how to rewire your training. Once you know and see, you are capable of understanding. It is not permanent and it is not lasting forever. So it is just a thought and you are ready to let go. If you are struggling and if you want to live with that thought, that is where the disgust or happiness and stress will appear. So when we know our mind, these are the process going through, we are coming to the equanimous mind. And this is the part that Buddhism asks us to realize. Whenever, whatever thing you hear or listen or you see or you smell, you feel, it does not matter. We can't totally reject all, but we can control that process. So take that control in your mind, come to the understanding of equanimity. But equanimity does not mean that you have no any other feeling. You are just like a stone. When someone says something, you are just like a stone that you are not moving. No, equanimity is full of loving kindness, compassion, and altruistic joy. So, perfect equanimous mind can be seen in Arahanta's mind. It does not mean Arahantas are devoid of loving kindness, compassion, and altruistic joy. So they are motivated by loving kindness, compassion, and altruistic joy. Otherwise, the Buddhas are not going to preach this Dhamma. If equanimous mind is a just mind with no feeling, Buddhas does not want to see our progress. Buddhas does not want to preach this Dhamma and make us attain enlightenment. Why they are preaching this Dhamma? Because they are motivated by loving kindness and compassion. Whenever Buddha sees someone who is progressing in the path, he is truly happy with those disciples. He encourages those disciples. That is altruistic joy. So these positive qualities are inside an arahant. So when we are capable of coming to the sense of equanimity, with the gradual practice, equanimity become stabilized. Once this equanimity stabilized, it is very easy to control your emotions, just like opening and closing your eyes. You are not easily moved to your tears, or you are not easily moved to your joy. You are the controller. You know that it is all under my control. So you decide what to do whenever you hear a sound or smell, taste or feel or knows different kind of thoughts are appearing inside your mind. So this is the second stage of our mental development. And then The Buddha says there are third different kind of another development of our mind. The noble one with well-developed faculties. When they are facing agreeable, disagreeable, and neutral feelings with regards to seeing sights, hears a sound, smell an odor, tasting a flavor, feel a touch, knows the thoughts, they are capable of perceiving those negative or positive kind of a feeling in four different ways. And if they wish to perceive those unrepulsive things in a repulsive ways, they are looking at those in that ways. And if they perceive the repulsive things, they can look at it in unrepulsive ways. And they are capable of perceiving neutral feeling according to their own wish, unrepulsive or repulsive ways. And if they wish to stay equanimous, they can reject those repulsive and unrepulsive things. For example, I will take one story of Venerable Arahant Mahakashyapa in his Teregata that we can find in one occasion. He was wandering through a village, and in this village, one person who is having some certain kind of a disease. So his body was deteriorating and his fingers are losing. But out of compassion, Venerable Arahant Mahakashyapa went to his home and wait over there to receive some food with the intention of making merit for this person. And he was having his meal. He has no any other ways. He used his own hand, which is the hand degenerating and having some certain sickness. So he took handful of food and put inside the bowl of Arahant Kashyapa. When he is putting this morsel of food, it says his finger also fallen into the alms bowl. Very disgusting, right? Can you even stand such kind of in front of such a person? We dare not to, right? But since and Arahantas, they were perfected their senses. They are seeing repulsive as unrepulsive. So they are capable of doing it. And Arahant Mahakashyapa took out that finger aside. Out of compassion, he consumed that food. I'm not asking to you that go that far. I'm sharing with you the story that had happened, which is equanimous mind, a person who can perform that miracle, depending on any situation, he is capable of looking at it whether in a positive or negative way, or in equanimous way. Since we haven't developed our senses, when someone scolds us, entire our world collapses. We are giving power for others' word to decide who we are. So you do not want to go so far into accepting such kind of food from anyone else. At least when you are receiving a negative word, if you can keep your mind in a calm stage, if you can keep yourself collected ways with loving kindness, and you are a true practitioner of the Buddha. So this is one example. And even some certain situations like, for example, in a Buddha's life story, Panchasika is considered as King Sakra's musician. Yeah. He came to the Buddha and started doing doing a poem with a nice music in front of the Buddha about his girlfriend. And it is a, a very revealing kind of a poem. After that, he asked a question from the Buddha. Buddha, did you enjoy my music and my compose of my poem? The Buddha said, oh, your words and musics are going according with the music and verses. So Buddha never ask him to stop doing this kind of a revealing poems right in front of the Buddha. If he wanted to see it in repulsive way, probably Buddha was looking at in a repulsive way. That is why Buddhism does not believe we can solve the problem by covering all the body parts of the people in this world. Buddhism does not believe in such. Nate kama yani chitrani loke sankapparago purisasakamo. Tittanti chitrani tateva loke atetta dira vinayanti chandan. The Buddha says, in this world, there will be always lustful things, beautiful things. But it can be only conquered within oneself. Because lustful things that appear outside world, because of inner world, we are attached to that lust. If you can conquer inside, the outside world does not affect you. That is the practice, that is the teaching Buddha highlights. That is why the Buddhas were capable of unmoved in this moving world. That is why Buddhist practitioners are capable of being calm amidst uncalm world. That is why Buddha always asks us to be such kind of a practitioner who can control, tame one's mind, not trying to control outside world. Because we can't control outside world. If we can control inner world, the entire world is not affecting our inner calmness. So that advice is the best advice given by the Buddha as a disciples, how to live in this world without getting affected. So that is what becoming an heir to the teachings of the Buddha. And to make end for this sutta, the Buddha says, out of sympathy, I have done what a teacher should do who wants what's best for their disciples. Do not be negligent. Do not regret it later. This is my instruction to you. So this is the instruction of the Buddha for disciples, fourfold disciples, monks and nuns, laywomen and laymen. If we are capable of living according to the teachings of the Buddha, creating an unmoved mind by others' outside behavior, we are becoming an heir to the teachings of the Buddha. So practice this Dhamma, follow this Dhamma, actualize this Dhamma, make use of this Dhamma to be happy here and now. Once you are happy here and now, you will be happy hereafter. So keep it inside your mind and we will go to the discussion and Q&As. Thank you very much for your attention.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Thank you, Bhante, for sharing with us how to develop and cultivate a non-moving internal world while we try and live in this moving external world. So we will now open for questions. Do you have any questions from the floor? We have quite a crowd today. Okay, we have one question from our AV team. Let's go.
Thank you, Bhante, for the talk. So I have one question. So the suttas always say, okay, so you got your sense doors, you be aware of what your sense doors are doing, then you become mindful, right? But I think for lay people, sometimes what we see is you are mindful that you're angry, agitated, but you cannot let go. Your anger is boiling, your feelings are boiling, your thoughts are boiling. Then you see, I'm agitated. I cannot control. I'm not mindful enough, so I will just let go. So maybe my question is, how do we improve our quality of mindfulness to stop our own actions?
Yeah, thank you for the question. I think that is what most of us are experiencing through our life, right? We can grasp the concept, we can catch our thoughts, but we are not capable of letting go. So that is where the equanimity need to be developed. So mindfulness is something to catch. And once you catch it, you need to come to the equanimous mind, which is you need to reflect on it as conditionally arising. So you need to go for the heart of dependent origination to grasp this concept. Why we are reflecting it as a conditionality? It is because it does not last. So it is very easy to spot that we are angry, and it is difficult for us to not to let go of it. So why we are not easily letting go? Because we do not find that equanimous stage in our mind where our cultivation need to be developed in one further step, looking at it as conditionality. For example, you need to understand, okay, now you have ears, someone scolded you, and you hear a sound, and that sound interpreted by whom? Myself. And who is giving the interpretation of this term and giving lots of word for this one single word? It is us. So when we are giving the meaning or attention for this word, if we are unable to see it is as conditionality arising, because of the word, it goes to ears, and once it goes to ears, we are the one who creating the drama in the second stage. When we can click that point, that specific point, that we are the one who giving this word. Once you see and once you know this word is given by yourself, it is easier for you to break it. Once you break it, you understand, oh, it is just a word, and I took it so personally, and I gave the interpretation to the meaning for that word. The more that we are giving, more fueling it with the same word, repeating again and again inside our mind, we are not seeing and capable of letting go. So every moment when this word comes to your mind, oh, you need to think, it is just a thought. It is just a thought. The person also changes over time. The meaning can be also changed and let go over the time. So we need to practice not only the restraining, but also the inner cultivation of dependent origination, seeing it as it is. It is just a sound. It is just a thought. When you are capable of seeing it in that way, you can break that, that grudge, that hatred. On the other hand, the hatred and grudge, the more that we are keeping inside ourselves, we are the one who's suffering. You need to see it in that perspective. So why do we need to suffer because of others' word? It is not good for ourselves. That is why we need to forget it. That is why we need to let go of it. Because harmful food, your health is going to worse if you are taking unhealthy food. So you are trying to prevent it. So if you know the method, try to prevent it. The same thing can be applied for our mental process. It is not good for yourself. So let go of it. Not because the other people are suitable of our loving kindness, but because we are deserves to have a calm mindset. So think in these two ways. Dependently arising, and it is not good for oneself. When you realize these two, you will be capable of letting go of anger or hatred, that grudge that you are keeping. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Bhante. That was really good, because the question of we deserve to have a calmer mind and not about, I want to harm somebody else, that gives me a light bulb moment. Any other questions?
Bhante, the verse you shared about the simile of the saw, when the Buddha says, if a low bandit cuts off your limb,
Yeah.
you're not supposed to have a malevolent thought. I kind of understand the scenario you gave about scolding. If someone scolds you, all that. Can you walk through how we could not have a malevolent thought if someone saws off your limb?
Yeah. So that is why this is a practice, right? This is the ultimate goal of the Buddha, how his disciples want to practice. But it does not mean that immediately after listening to the Dhamma sharing that you are opening up the portal to achieve that mindset. So it is a gradual practice. You can start it from a simple negative remark that you are receiving. And why Buddha does want us to not to be angry or keep hateful thoughts if someone is cutting our limbs? It is because that we are the one who going to get negative results in our next birth if we are going with the negative thoughts. So it is all about inner cultivation of one's own well-being. It does not mean that the other person who is cutting our limbs and he is going to have a comfortable life while we are having a loving kind thoughts towards him. It is because that we need not to give that power or destroy our own life holding into that negative thoughts. It is a very difficult, of course, and it is a very high demanding expectation of the Buddha from the disciples. But it can be achieved and enabled when we are slowly going through these difficult situation in our life, slowly letting go of one after another negative remarks, negative uh, complaint, and also some certain kind of negative feelings that you are going through. When you are capable of letting go of one by one, that you are capable of understanding. I will add you one story. I do not know whether I remember correctly. I shared this story. So I'm living in near Kembangang. So I walk every Sunday from Kembangang to Eunos for the Mangala Vihara to conduct classes. So the classes start 2 p.m. After lunch, around 1 p.m., I slowly start walking to passing by Kembagang MRT station. So when I walk to Mangala Vihara, I'm full, right? So I walk over there and teach 1 hour, and then slowly I'm walking back. When I'm coming back, that I notice whenever I'm coming back, passing by the Kembangan MRT station, there is a nice smells goes through my nose, passing by a nice bread shop. I wonder, when I'm full, after lunch, when I'm going to Mangala Vihara, that sensation is not in me. But when I'm coming back, my food has digested, and when I'm coming back, that smells goes through my nose, and I feel, oh, there is a bread shop. The bread shop was over there when I was walking to Mangala Vihara also. The smell was also there, but the condition was not there to make me hungry, right? Because I'm full. That is something like I'm in a good condition situation. So it does not bother me. But when I'm coming back, my food has digested and it is afternoon time. Oh, then that smell gives me some alarming, oh, you are hungry, then you can feel this smell, right? That is how the small things that appears inside our mind. So I can choose not to walk from that side. I can walk from the other side, right? Is it controlling my or developing my senses? No, I'm avoiding the sensation. But if I'm walking with mindfulness, now I'm ready. I'm going to pass by the bread shop. Oh, it does not bother me, right? So a gradual practice will enable for you to overcome difficult challenges. So start from the smaller ones. Once you are dealing with the smaller ones, you are capable of dealing with the bigger problems as well. So that is our practice. We are not running away. We are facing it with mindfulness, equanimity, and we are conquering our mind. So this is the practice. So start from smaller one. One day when someone comes and cut your limbs, you will be capable of staying with that loving kind mind and loving kind thought process. So it will enable, but do not go directly to that kind of experience. Start from small and develop gradually. Yeah.
Thank you, Bhante. I think we have just time for one last question.
Bhante, just now Bhante talked about Pariyati, Patipati, Pativeda. So maybe Bhante can elaborate, how did Pativeda develop? Is it mostly by meditation? When somebody meditate with a good samadhi, can see things as it is, then develop the understanding of Pativeda. Thank you.
Yeah. So this is a very interesting question. How to develop the Pativeda, right? So what we are discussing here as a cultivation of or developing our faculties, also a practice of meditation. So many people think that sitting down and having a wonderful calm mindset in our meditation practice is all about meditation. No, it is only a part of meditation. The rest of the part, we need to face the situations and develop our faculties. That is why the development of faculties, the Buddha specifically preached this sutta. It does not mean that we should not sit for the meditation and close our eyes, concentrate our mind on breathing and breathing out. But how many of us can stay in this kind of a stage for a long period of time? Because we have other daily activities we need to engage. So when we are engaging, we are carrying this practice and developing our senses, being mindfulness, also a practice of Pativeda, the direct insight. So that is the direct insight that we are taking from small things. When someone scolds us, if you are capable of knowing that is a negative feeling, and it arises because of dependently arising, and it has nothing to do with me. It is just a sound, and I am the one who giving the meaning to that. If you can bring your mind into equanimity, you are practicing that meditation. So many people think that spiritual advancement or development, or these practices that we are engaging, opening up chakras, or opening up different kind of a calmness and experiencing blissful things. But the Buddha's meditation is quite different. That is why Buddha gave up on samatha meditation practice, came to vipassana. Otherwise, we are doing the practice of quite similar to 𝑝𝑟𝑒𝑠𝒊𝒓. We are trying to control the senses, but we are not letting ourselves to opportunity to develop it. So developing is undergoes vipassana meditation. So that is what the breakthrough or difference between samatha meditation and vipassana meditation. But it does not mean that we totally neglect samatha meditation. We need to practice, we need to have a calm mindset, but we need to walk among the people, face the difficulties and challenges, overcome those difficulties with the knowledge of vipassana meditation practice. So the moment that you are recognizing negative thoughts appears inside your mind, it is a moment of meditation. It is a moment of mindfulness. That is why this practice can be done while sitting, and while you are cooking, while you are walking, while you are listening to others, while you are working. So Buddha opened up a range of meditational experiences or practices by opening up with vipassana meditation. So vipassana meditation is part of this direct insight. And samatha also support for that understanding. Mm. People say something, we accept it as a hearing. Say that it is a voice of me. Mm-hmm. But we got it as anger. Okay. We do not get it as humiliation. We just receive as it is, meaning it's a sound coming. Yeah. Then we call this is Pativeda or just understanding. No, the direct insight here has two meaning. The insight that we are getting in this kind of momentary experiences, and also the final awakening, both are undergoes the Pativeda. Yeah. Can we say that it is the Pativeda in the early stage? Yeah, it is a momentary kind of opening up our Pativeda, the insight. But it is different from final awakening. These are two different kind of experiences. Yeah. That is developing the vipassana meditation in deeper sense. Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Bhante. Let's say 3 sadhus.